I'm John from Electronic Audio Experiments, and this is Rick from Pile. Say hi, Rick from Pile.
Hey.
Today we're here to talk about Mirror House version 2. Mirror House was originally released in 2023 to commemorate the Pile record All Fiction. And we made an awesome demo video with our friend Ryan Dite that tells the story and showcases some of the sounds. In this video, we're going to do a little bit more of a technical deep dive and talk about what makes version 2 different. For V2, we had some quality of life improvements like soft touch switching and a reduced noise floor on the DSP signal path. But we also added a brand new Flutter Mode, which is the middle position on the mode toggle. We're excited to dive into this thing, and without further ado, let's get into it. To start this video, we're going to talk about Detune Mode, which is when the mode toggle is in the down position. For this video, Rick is using a Healy growler into a Benson bell ringer mic'd up with an Oma ribbon mic. So let's get into it. Want to hit us with a clean tone? Yeah, that's pretty clean. All right. So turning the pedal on, we're going to start with the mix right at noon. So 50-50 mix of wet and dry. And what I'm going to do is slowly turn up the amount control, which is the static pitch shift. And you're going to hear the two voices sort of spread apart from a microtonal interval into a full semitone. So you can really just sit in that. It can get really uncomfortable if you want it to. Now, let's say you want to only hear one of those voices. The voices knob sort of influences the directionality of the pitch shifting. When I turn it clockwise, we're focusing on the upper pitch voice. If you turn it counterclockwise, you focus on the lower pitch voice. And keep in mind, these two voices always move symmetrically apart from one another. So let's listen to just the upper voice now. Yeah, there's that half step. Now, if you isolate this, you can hear sort of the same thing, where it goes up from unison up to a half step. So that's pretty cool, but let's give it some action. Let's give it some like kind of directionality, some dynamics. And that's where the animate knob is going to come in. The animate knob controls an envelope detector. So it's listening to the intensity of your playing. And when your playing goes above a certain threshold, it is going to bend the pitch shifter. Depending on how you have the voices set, you're either going to have one voice that goes up and back down and back up, or they're going to get pulled apart and snap back together. So for this, what I'm going to do is turn up the animate control, and we're going to isolate the upper voice by turning voices fully clockwise. So now what's going to happen is the pitch is going to bend up and then back down. So that gives you an idea of what's going on. Now, if I turn voices in the other direction, you're going to hear the pitch move in the opposite way. And that gives you a rough idea what's going on. Now we can kind of go back to our original setting here where we've got an even mix and the two voices. And the amount of detuning, that sort of separation of the voices to give almost a faux chorus effect, is going to be entirely dynamic. So that's kind of the soul of this effect. It's kind of like a chorus, because there's a little bit of a delay and you've got the movement in the delay lines from the pitch shifting. But because there's no static LFO, it gives a much different effect. This is also a good time to note that the pitch shifting engine of this pedal is very rudimentary. It's based on early algorithms developed in the 60s and 70s, which themselves date back to techniques developed on tape machines. So it's got this sort of shimmery, vibey character to it. There's a bit of lag, all very intentional and something we really leaned into. And that's Detune Mode. Since the 2023 video, I realized there was one cool bit of context that we didn't really dive into, which is the slop knob on the Prophet XL. This was a cool touch point during the original development. And Rick, I wanted you to tell us a little bit about why you like this control and sort of what it offers. And then I'll talk a little bit how we tried to interpret it into our own sort of effect.
Sure, yeah. So I had never really been much into synths prior to getting the Prophet. But once I did and I started exploring it a little bit more, I started using the slop function, which is basically a detune. And, you know, for something on a synth where it's generally pretty linear in terms of tone, this was a way to kind of destabilize that. And I found it gave dissonance in places that I couldn't find it otherwise. So I'll give an example right now. This is just going to be, I'm going to play a C with a fifth up and an octave up. And here's the slop. So there it just kind of has this weird destabilization and it can get pretty wild. Kind of, yeah, sounds crazy. And then we're back. You can use it just with single notes too. Yeah, it just puts like a little stank on it.
It's cool. I like that it kind of traverses from sort of subtly off to like full on dissonance and back again. And so, you know, that was something like, obviously we wanted static control over the sort of new intervals generated, but with a synthesizer, you get envelopes for free. And on guitar, having things where it's such an expressive instrument with your picking hand dynamics and bends and such, being able to tap into that with a dedicated envelope generator to move the pitch around makes it feel really cohesive and interesting. So this is a cool bit of context. I'm glad we got to check it out.
Same.
Next, I'd like to talk about Flutter Mode, which is the new mode that we added on version 2 of the Mirror House. That's accessed with the mode toggle in the middle position. Flutter Mode changes the animate knob to control a random LFO, rather than the envelope control of the other modes. So what I'm going to do is set the mix all the way up, voices all the way up to isolate the upper voice, leave them out at 0 as that's still a static detune, and we're going to focus on the animate control as it changes the pitch vibrato. Now, if I pull the mix back, we're going to get something more like a traditional chorus, but still with that random LFO. And finally, if I use the voices knob to bring in the other voice, we now have, once more, the two voices moving in symmetric unison to thicken up that detuned chorus sound. That's Flutter Mode. All right. So in the third and final mode, with the mode toggle in the up position, we get Shift Mode. Rather than being constrained to just a half step in microtonal motion, the amount control now goes in half steps from unison to a full octave. Let's listen to that with just the upper voice in the mix at halfway. So we get some pretty intense intervals in there. And to make things even crazier, these intervals are mirrored with the downward going voice. Some of these get pretty uncomfortable, but there are some cool safe harbors like fourths going up and down. Now, to add some motion to this, we can use the animate control. You'll notice I switched to the tritone interval there, and needless to say, this is not for the faint of heart. But we look forward to hearing what you freaks accomplish. Anyway, that is Shift Mode. Thanks everybody for watching the Mirror House V2 technical demo. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions about the pedal, please don't hesitate to reach out. Mirror House V2 is available now through the EAE website and through our participating dealers worldwide.
And we're going to be bringing them on tour too. So if you want to come see us live, you can get one there as well.
Amazing. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I've been John from EAE.
I've been Rick from Pile.
Cheers, everyone. That's, yeah, straight from... I don't know.
The horse's mouth. The horse's mouth.
He's the horse.
You can call me a horse.